Am I the asshole for refusing to return a bag that I bought with my money? English is no my first language. I apologize in advance for any mistake. I, 19F, work at a thrift store 3 days a week. It's quite a big one, and a lot of people in my area come and shop there. Every product is labeled in accordance to a color-coded system, and the color changes every week. Furthermore, there is a section in the store that sells the more expensive donations, mostly brands. These products are usually sold at a higher price. I'm a very low-level employee and my job is to place the products on the shelves and on the poles. Because of that, I see what is about to be sold in advance. However, I can't buy anything that is labeled with the color of the week. So, for example, if this week's color is red, I have to wait until the next week to buy anything with the labeled in red. Now, I usually work on weekends plus a random day of the week. 2 weeks ago, it fell on a Tuesday. That meant that we had just started a new color, yellow. As I was putting bags on a shelf, I realized that one of them was from a very expensive fashion brand. On first glance, you wouldn't be able to recognize it, but because I spend too much time on Pinterest, I immediately started panicking. This bag, that usually retails for a few thousands, in sale at a thrift store for $12.99? I was going to faint. Unfortunately for me, because it was labeled in yellow, I couldn't have it. Because it's not the first time this sort of thing happens, I calmed down, put the bag back in his place and continued my job. As I was going on with my day, I kept going back at the same section, praying that no one had taken it. At the end of my shift, I saw that it was still there and I decided that, if no one had bought it, I would. 4 days later, I come back to start my day and I see that the bag is still there, but it was now further back on the shelf, behind some other ones. I don't touch anything, I kept doing my job. Did the same on Sunday. Last Monday, I woke up and went there to shop. As soon as I entered to store, I went to the bag section and took the bag, beelined to checkout and bought it. I was so excited. I guess some of my excitement was showing because my coworker asked me why I was smiling. Me and this coworker usually get on well and I explained to her the situation. She smiled and told me she was happy for me. Last Saturday, while on my shift, my boss called me in his office to talk. He was with one of my managers and they went on to tell me that I had acted inappropriately by not notifying them of the price of the bag. They asked that I return it so that they would put it back on sale, this time at a much higher price. I told them no, because I followed the policy. They weren't happy, but they couldn't force me. Yesterday, when I got to work, my coworkers kept on making remarks and my managers had this unhappy look on their faces. I explained the story to my friend and she said that even if it's my bag, it's not fate that I kept the information for myself. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Not the asshole policy was followed. Not your fault they didn't check it properly. Not the asshole. Thrift store policies are bullshit across the board anyway. If the management didn't realize what they had, it certainly wasn't your job to tell them. Enjoy your bag. Is pricing things and determining what gets sold in which part of the shop your job? Because it sounds like it's not. Their lack of knowledge isn't your job to correct, unless they're consulting you on pricing and paying you accordingly. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Well done for finding a good deal. Learn your lesson though. Colleagues, bosses aren't your friends. In future keep your mouth shut. Not the asshole. But your decision to tell your coworker was not smart. Not the asshole. They should have done their due diligence. They want you to return it so they can make more money off of it. Am I the asshole for not tattooing my stepson's name on my arm with my kids' names? I'm 36M, my wife is 35F. I have 2 kids from my first marriage, 9M and 7F. I have been married to my wife for 4 years, we have a 1F daughter. She has a 8M son from her first marriage. The kids all live with us. My kid's mother has visitations 1 weekend a month, her son's dad isn't involved at all. I have the names of my oldest 2 kids tattooed on my arm. I just recently added the name of my youngest daughter. My wife and I were talking about the tattoo, and she asked me if I'll tattoo my stepson's name in the same round as our daughter's. I told her I have no intention of tattooing his name. She was shocked and asked me why. I said I only have the names of my children tattooed. She said I am excluding her son and he is part of this family too. I refused to tattoo his name and proceeded to only tattoo my daughter's name. Wife called me all sorts of things. AITA? You are the asshole. You've been a father figure to him for half his life. Poor boy will probably be shattered when he realizes you don't actually see him as yours. Info: Are you not the 8yo's parent too? Like you're his stepdad, he lives in the family home, that is a permanent role in his life and your life. If your wife passed away, what happens to him? How does the child regard you? Info: It depends. If you've legally adopted him, then YTA. If you've acted as a father figure, you parent him, refer to him as your son, and he calls you dad, then YTA. If you're firmly a step-parent, he calls you by your name, and there are boundaries where only wife mostly parents him, then he's part of the family, but not one of your kids, and thus NTA. Edit. Not the asshole based on OP's answer below. But I think both should consider a long-term view for all kids, including adoption. You are the asshole. Look, no one else gets to dictate what you put on your body, but you made it incredibly clear to your stepson where he stands on this family on the outside. And right now he's 8, and he's not going to notice, but when he gets older he will, and you are going to have to tell him why. You have also sent a clear message to your wife where her child stands in this family. Don't start getting butt hurt when she makes sure to prioritize your stepson over you older children. You made it clear the dynamics you expected. No assholes here on the tattoo part. You have every right to decide what names to or not to have permanently tattooed on your body. However, your wife can be upset with you over it. You said that stepson's dad isn't involved in his life. This means to you're likely his dad and will be the only dad he'll ever know. This might not hurt him now, but it will likely hurt him later. When you decided to merge families, you should have thought about how this affects your parenting. You're now a dad to __4___ children. Just because one doesn't share DNA with you doesn't mean you are any less of a dad to him. Not the asshole. Your biokids will always be your biokids no matter what. If you and this woman ever end up separating, he is no longer your stepson and you'll just have some random kid's name tattooed on your arm forever. Everyone saying you are the asshole is an idiot. Am I the asshole for drinking as DD? All of my friends have different policies as DD. Some don't drink at all. Some have a couple drinks early on but then stop so they're sobered up by the time we leave. Everyone is responsible and we all trust each other. Last night was my night, and my buddy brought his new girlfriend to meet everyone. I picked them up along with everyone else and drove us all to the bar. If I drink on my DD night, I usually order my drink really early so I know it will be done by the time we're halfway done with the night and completely out of my system by the time I start driving. Technically, in my weight class, I can get behind the wheel right after drinking a beer and be under the legal limit, but the timing buffer makes me more comfortable. I ordered my drink and then walked back over to the group. When the new girlfriend saw me, she asked what I was drinking and I told her. She got upset and asked how we were all going to get home. I assured her it would be out of my system by the time we left. She was still upset and asked me not to drink it. I already paid for it, so I just shrugged and apologized. She stormed out. My friend followed her and they wound up leaving in an Uber. My friends all reassured me, but the rest of the night felt awkward. Am I the asshole? Should I have given my drink to someone else to make her more comfortable? I texted my friend to make sure we're cool, but he hasn't answered. Update. My friend finally texted me back. He said he was sorry for dropping off the earth, just dealing with stuff. Apparently the new girlfriend broke up with him. We're taking him out for consolation drinks tonight, and since it's not my turn to be DD, I'll be able to match him shot for shot. I feel bad about his GF, but he said it's probably for the best. I guess I'll hear the whole story soon. Conclusion. My poor friend. He was so sad. But yeah, so when they left the bar they started fighting. She was mad he never mentioned most of our group, like 2/3, are women. But we're all teachers, so feels like she should have known that. She asked why he spends every weekend going to bars getting wasted with a bunch of floozies. They started getting loud, so he actually ordered the Uber. Then they went back to his and fought some more, and then she broke up with him and left. Apparently she called our whole group a bunch of alcoholics and him a wannabe pimp as she was leaving. I think he can do better, personally. Nah. Having been in a situation where I watched my DD get progressively drunker all night, I get why she was spooked. She doesn't know you well enough to trust you're not going to keep drinking. I do think you should clarify with everyone when you agree to drive that you plan to have one drink. But people who are calling you a drunk driver for having one drink and driving a few hours later are ridiculous. Even DARE wasn't that dramatic. In my country, the legal limit is .02 to drive. I would react negatively if the designated driver had a drink, more of concern for them. However, I would not have stormed out, "You're doing them a favor," and she could obviously afford to get an Uber, so I think she overreacted. If you have different laws, I see no problem with having a drink. 02 is very strict. It's not like one beer will make you drunk. Not the asshole. Edit. Moved the decimal point as pointed out down finger. Soft, you are the asshole. If I am the DD, I don't drink anything alcohol in it. It's not that I couldn't have one drink and be okay to drive. But to me it's just part of the job I agreed to do. Nah. The new girlfriend obviously doesn't know you and trust you like your friends do. She apparently expected the DD to abstain and wasn't comfortable entrusting a relative stranger to stick to one beer and being sober when it was time to leave. That's fair. She and your friend took an Uber. They got home safe. Any conflict was caused by the misunderstanding is between her and your friend. Make your apologies to him and call it done. The way you word it makes it sound okay, but for myself and many others, DD means you're not drinking any alcohol that evening. If I went out and my supposed DD was having even a single beer, I would absolutely not trust that person to be the DD anymore, and I would feel like I was lied to. You are the asshole. I come at this from an Irish perspective. Here you don't drive if you have had one single drink at any point in the evening. It's wild to me how Americans seem to often drink and drive. Am I the asshole for only buying ice cream for one of the kids I was babysitting? We went to a park with my extended family. My F17 sister, F4, asked me to take her to the playground, which was far away from where we were sitting. I decided to take her, but as we wanted to leave, all my aunts and uncles started to ask me to take their kids as well, which would be about 7 kids in total, with youngest being my sister and oldest being 9 years old. I told them I don't want to look after that many kids, but they assured me that I have no responsibility other than taking them there and staying with them to make sure they don't get lost. I took them and everything was fine until my sister asked me for an ice cream. I didn't have enough money to buy for everyone, so I bought 2 for me and her. The other kids asked me for an ice cream, but I told them I can't buy it and told them to just keep playing and their parents will buy for them when we get back. After we went back, they started complaining to their parents and they all berated me. I don't think I was obligated to buy them ice creams because I wasn't even getting paid. They said I'm an asshole and I will never babysit again. Yay. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, and it's great that you only had to buy ice cream to get out of babysitting duties forever. Rolling on the floor laughing, remind them of this every time they try to make you look after their kids. Not the asshole at all. You told them you didn't want to take them. They told you that you had no responsibility, other than making sure they weren't lost, which is a huge responsibility. You hadn't gotten any money to buy them all ice cream. They said I'm an asshole and I will never babysit again. Yay. And #X200B. Don't threaten me with a good time, lol. Wow, not the asshole op. If they want you to buy ice cream for everyone, then they pay you, full stop. You've been put in an unfair babysitter position that you didn't want, so them berating you is not okay. They're adults, they pay for their own kids' ice creams. Not the asshole, your family was taking advantage of you and now they'll be hesitant to do that again. I think there's a fair point to not buying for one kid in front of others, but the issue wasn't you. It was that the parents weren't there and should have been. You told them no, and besides that they were playing on a hot day, something could have happened, and it sounds like you were watching too many kids to handle an emergency if you needed to. Not the asshole, they did not give you money or any compensation to watch their children, let alone buy them ice cream. What you do with your money is your choice. As for it not being fair for the other children, it's simply not fair to send a 17-year-old with 9 children on her own.